Greetings, I am Anthony L. Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association are not only the Black Buddhist voice in America, we are the Black Buddhist voice in the world. Now, let me put it this way. The best way that you can understand is that in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee, in 1947, a radio station started. Now, what makes this radio station in Memphis important? For the first time in the history of America, they programmed the first black radio station in America. WDIA is special because it's the first black radio station in America. You see, in America, all of America's original music was black music. White people who were immigrants to America brought their music to America with them. However, when it came to black people, we lost our music, our culture, and our language, and we had to come up with a new music. And all of the original music that we know of America, from country to rock to acid rock, it all came from black people. Now, one of the things that white people do not share is that the original Christians were also black people. If you want to go further into world history, all of the original Buddhists were black Buddhists. Now, if you want to go further into humankind, all of the original humans come from a single mother in Africa. And the concept of race is a social construct that began in India in the 2nd century AD. This is what you must understand. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association bring forward world history, culture, and language. White people are quick to say, why do we always bring up race? We bring up race because white people rewrote history and they extricated black people out of history. Now, let's get to our Black Buddhist lecture today. Our lecture today is called True to the Game, a Black Buddhist lecture. Now, let's take you back to our original thesis. Before there was an Anthony L. Elmore, there existed no independent Black Buddhist voice in the world. In regards to the Buddhist religion, whites and Asians have purposefully extricated all Black Buddhist history, culture, and language from the Buddhist teachings. Now, we at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association, we are like the WDIA in Memphis, the first black station in the nation. Now, just because we are black does not mean white people cannot benefit from Black Buddhist teachings. Let me tell you what happened in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, in 1949, a white boy moved to Memphis, Tennessee from Tupelo, Mississippi, and he was 12 years old, and he used to listen to the black station WDIA and the black music. In 1959, he re-recorded a song by a black man that was written by a black man in 1946. The black man's name was Arthur Big Boy Cooter. And this white boy, a white man, recorded a song in 1954. He re-recorded the black man's song. This white man became so famous that even today in Memphis, Tennessee, his house is the second most visited house in America. His house is called Graceland, and the white boy's name was Elvis Presley, who grew up listening to black music. This is what you must understand. For the last 2,000 years, when humans called white people got into power, they have been rewriting the history, culture, and language of black people. They have literally wrote black people out of history. Now, in regards to world history, the absolute most ancient and most influential rewrite of black history came in ancient Egypt, when the white Kushan king Kanishka changed the Buddha from black to white. Now, in regards to black people or African Americans, we African Americans have integrated into the religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam into our black or African American culture. Now, the only major religion that has not integrated via black or African Americans has been the Buddhist religion. Myself, Anthony Elmore, is the first black or African American in modern world history to teach, preach, or integrate or make black history, culture, and language inclusive of black history. We are the WDIA in the world, or the first black Buddhist media outlet in the world. We have over 400 videos posted on YouTube. Our proud Black Buddhist website is the first Black Buddhist website in the world. When it comes to Black Buddhist history, we have written and done more extensive Black Buddhist research than anyone in modern world history. Now, let's get back to our topic for today. Our topic for today is called True to the Game, a Black Buddhist Lecture. Now, on September the 8th, 2017, a black movie was released called True to the Game. Now, this is the story about a charismatic drug lord who tries to start a new life after he falls for a young woman from Philadelphia. Now, I sat in that movie theater fascinated. For those of you who do not know me, my background is that I am a filmmaker and that I wrote, produced, directed, and starred in my own film called The Contemporary Gladiator that premiered in 1998. If you Google Anthony Elmore movie, you will see not only my film, you will see where even in 2017, my film is being reviewed. Quiet as it is kept, I am the first black independent filmmaker in this Mid-South. That's Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Now, why was this movie so fascinating? It was only during 1971, during my senior year in high school, for the first time in world history, a movie came out whereas a black man was militant and did not get killed. This movie was called Sweet Sweetback, and it came out in April of 1971. Now, I was fascinated because in watching this movie, the black people looked good, the women were beautiful, and the men was handsome. It was amazing how the movie came about. Let me tell you, see, there's a woman who grew up in Philadelphia. Her name is Terry Woods. Now, Terry Woods is an American novelist from Philadelphia. Now, she is a successful, self-published pioneer of urban fiction genre. Woods finished writing her first novel, True to the Game, in 1992 while working in a law firm in Philadelphia. Now, this is some sexy stuff because I used to date this sister who also worked for a law firm. She was a broadcast journalist, and this chick used to be real crazy about me, and she also wrote love stories and fictions, and she is now a very successful book writer. Now, please understand that being in the theater, you see a black perspective in this movie. What is heartbreaking is in our entire world, other than Anthony F. Elmore, there exists no independent black Buddhist perspectives. See, in this movie, True to the Game, this charismatic drug lord was smooth, artistic, refined, and he had tremendous depth. What was intriguing was the fact that he had a spiritual quality in that he was a Muslim, whom you see him praying in the movie, and he talks about Malcolm X. Now, Gina in the movie falls in love with this drug lord, whose name was Quadir. Now, Gina's mother is deep into her religion, her Christian religion, and she makes everybody go to church. Now, in this movie, you find everything from drug lords, gangsters, hoes, pimps, everything. The one thing that you do not find in this movie is a Buddhist perspective, or we as African Americans, it is rare for us to have a Buddhist perspective. Now, what has not emerged from the Buddhist religion are the Terry Woods or the independent black writers. Now, who is the most noted black Buddhist in the world? The most noted black Buddhist in the world is Tina Turner. While Tina Turner is the most noted black Buddhist in the world, Tina no longer presents an exclusive black perspective of Buddhism. Now, let me explain. What has not emerged is that we do not have black Buddhist writers. Now, let me explain. White people wrote black people out of history. It was only in February of 1926, whereas Dr. Carter G. Woodson created Black History Week. It was a policy of white historians to extricate black people out of history. Now, it was only in 1976, whereas American presidents would designate Black History Month. We who are people of African descent, or we who are black people, we must understand that white people purposefully wrote black people out of history. It was just last year, in September of 2016, that the Smithsonian Museum of African American History opened on the Mall of Washington. What black people worldwide do not realize is the greatest black world history is untold, and some of the world's greatest black history is Black Buddhist history. It is not just whites and Asians who hide Black Buddhist history. The greatest obstructionists of Black Buddhist history are Black Buddhist practitioners. Black people who are trained in the Buddhist faith, they are trained by Asians and whites, and they are trained to extricate Black Buddhist history, culture, and language. Now, let's get back to the movie, Truth to the Game. And let us introduce you to a Black Buddhist perspective. Now, what we mean by a Black Buddhist perspective is that we introduce Buddhism via a Black language, a Black culture, and a history. The common perspective of the Buddhist faith is that one sits back and engages in meditation. You see, from the result of meditation, one gains this nirvana, or an enlightened life condition, or in the words of the hood, one becomes super cool even in Trump's America. Now, we who are the proud Black Buddhists practice the teachings of the 13th century Black Japanese Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin, who teaches us that it is the Lotus Sutra that is the highest of the Buddhist teachings. You see, true Buddhism is not about some Asian on a mountain meditating. True Buddhism is not about listening to some Asian priest. True Buddhism is more like the great Black educator, Booker T. Washington, in his 1895 Atlanta Compromise speech, where he said, quote, "Cast down your buckets." In plain and common sense terms, you do not have to become like an Asian on a mountain meditating to become a Buddha. You see, let's take a look at a quick scene from the movie and come back and bring things into a Black Buddhist perspective. You see, it is the Lotus Sutra that teaches us that Buddhism is your everyday life. And the way we bring Buddhism to you is through our everyday life. Let's watch a scene from the movie and we'll come back and tell you more about Buddhism and how it relates to our everyday life. Let's watch this scene from the movie.
I heard you like to meet in empty barbershops.
There's no secret you loading the city up. I ain't even mad at you. Your squad with my soldiers together, we can run this city like a Fortune 500 company.
Fortune 500, huh?
I'm a young, Black, successful criminal. If you want to be king, you gotta be willing to step to the throne and take that jump.
Dina, how you doing?
Why, there is Pace. He's a millionaire.
Girl, I had my share of drug deal millionaires.
Little Gina,
Yeah.
she got you feeling some kind of way?
You can't be a father or a husband with a life like this. Mama have to give you that.
Hey, you're the boss. I get it.
You're trying to be a boss. I get it.
There's nothing that he has that we can't take.
I got more keys than a leash. These niggas be talking police.
Everybody want to preach about how they true to the game. Until the game go against them.
200,000 on my wrist.
What we're showing you here is that true Buddhism is not some Asian on the mountain meditating, but true Buddhism is our everyday life. Whether you are like Quadir, the drug kingpin, Helen the Hoe, Patrick the pimp, or Thomas the thug, it is only the Lotus Sutra that teaches us that we can become Buddhas just as we are. You see, the Lotus Sutra is like a great physician who changes poison into medicine. The Lotus Sutra is the only true Buddhist religion that teaches us how to be true to the game. So the question is, how do we become true to the game? See, the real game is only in our minds. The real game is only in our lives. This is how the 13th century Black Japanese sage Nichiren Shonin explains this in his writings called The Go Show. Now, the Go Show are letters that Nichiren wrote to teach his disciples Buddhism. Now, In the Ghost Show on Attaining Buddhahood in This Lifetime, it reads, quote, "It is the same with a Buddha and an ordinary being. When deluded, one is called an ordinary being. But when enlightened, one is called a Buddha. This is similar to a tarnished mirror that will shine like a jewel when polished. A mind now clouded by the illusions of innate darkness of life is like a tarnished mirror. But when polished, it is sure to become like a clear mirror reflecting the essential nature of phenomena and the true aspect of reality. Arouse deep faith and diligently polish your mirror day and night. How should you polish it? Only by chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, unquote. You see, the real game is called life. You can joke, you can jive, you can BS. When you look in the mirror, the only person you are jiving is the one in the mirror. Now, watching the movie, there were no white people oppressing black people. In this movie, black people had money, power, and starring roles. What is better, a white gangster or a black gangster? If you look great, it is great to see a brother jump on a private little jet and he take his woman to Philly, or from Philly to LA, they ride horseback on the beach. It is no question about Gina. She was going to open them jaws up. Now, Quadir had money, power, and them fine women were begging him to come get some of this. Now, no matter who you are, it is easy to get caught up and want to become a part of the game. Now, it is our Buddhist faith, whereas we learn the four powers of the mystic law, that helps us to approach the game differently. You see, common mortals approach the game from the outside. Now, we Buddhists approach the game from the inside. You see, we got an inside game. You see, at the time of this lecture, many people in Florida, the Caribbean islands, are facing or have faced the worst kind of natural destruction. If that house, job, car, title is what makes you, then you've lost the game. In our everyday lives, we all personally face, if not a Hurricane Irma, we face a Hurricane Harvey as in Houston, Texas. How many of you have ever been in love and experienced a broken heart? I know what it feels like, that you just don't want to live. When we lose things that are precious to us, it hurts. We who are Nichiren Buddhists learn the four powers of the mystic law. Now, the first power that we learn is, number one, the power of the Buddha. Now, as black people, please do not get caught up in semantics or meanings of words. From the powers of the mystic law, there is the power of the Buddha. For the sake of black people, let's say there is power of God. Whether you call this God or Buddha, this power does exist. This power exists in the world of faith. Some people say, if I see it, I can believe it. That is viewing things from the outside. When you view things from the inside, you say when you believe it, you can see it. Now, let's put this in a way that you can understand. When you shine, Namu Myoho Kyo, you visualize yourself not the way of what you are, but you see yourself as who you can be. Now, the second power is knowing and understanding the power of the law. The universe is based on laws. When you make a cause, you will get an effect. Now, you must get a clear understanding of the law. One person says, I give up on the law. I planted a seed, but I did not get a crop. See, you have to be clear on understanding the law of cause and effect. Let me put this in a language that you can understand. Brother man says, I followed the law and I was good to the woman. I gave her my check. I was honest and she still cheated. Sister girl says, I was good to Jarrell. He used my car to go get a job and he picked up another woman. Have you heard the adage, you can't make a hoe a housewife? Now, Jarrell was no damn good in the first place. See, in Buddhism, we call this planting a good seed in a bad field. I do not care how good a seed it is. If you plant a good seed in a bad field, it will ruin. You cannot plant no seed on the concrete or in water. Now, the third power is the power of practice. We can get good things via practice. Now, what is important is that we must have the correct practice. This is what the Buddha teaches us, is how we find the wisdom to have the correct practice. You see, if you plant a good seed at the wrong time, you will still fail. Time and conditions are important. You can meet the right person at the wrong time, like you can plant a seed at the wrong time. See, what is important is practice. It may take a long time to achieve a goal, but with the correct practice, meaning the correct time, the correct conditions, you can make the seed flourish. Now, let us move to the fourth and the most important power. The fourth is the power of faith. In the movie, we see Quadir. He got the homes, the cars, the women. Now, in our life, we got the power of faith. We don't need to have a quick fix to sell dope or to do things illegal or try to take a shortcut. In the Buddhist faith, we reach down into ourselves and we develop ourselves and we develop the spirit to practice, to follow the correct law, to follow the correct teachings, and we learn how to use the correct practice, the correct faith, the correct wisdom to achieve our goals. You see, let us move to the fourth and the most important. Now, the power of faith. In the movie, we see what Quadir did. Now, this is the story that I like. Now, you see, I like the story of a young Barack Obama who decided to forego college and work as a community organizer to give his time helping others. He goes to college and becomes the first black person who edits the Harvard Review newspaper. He was not cool like Quadir in the fact that he was a nerd, but not only did that nerd become successful, he became not only the first black president of the United States of America. Now, did he settle for only a big booty woman. He found not only a big booty woman, he found a woman with a big brain and a big heart, who not only knew her black history, but Michelle Obama minored in black history. While Cordell flew in a private Learjet in the movie, Barack Obama flew on Air Force One. This should tell us that the possibilities of following the law, following the correct teachings, how we can achieve. This is what the Buddhist practice is about. Let us bring this Buddhist lecture right home here in Memphis, Tennessee. One writer wrote, quote, "I would rather die trying to do something great than to succeed doing nothing." Please understand that we are not just Black Buddhists. We are proud Black Buddhists. We are not racist against Asian or white people. We are great within ourselves. Our fate has nothing to do with Asian or white people. We have a wonderful, meaning we Black people have a wonderful music, history, a wonderful culture, and a wonderful patriotism. We can stand up and stand out with the best of people. Just a few days ago, I see Sloane Stephens, another Black woman, to win the U.S. Open Tennis Championship. It is unprecedented. We see Black people achieving in all fields, from becoming the President of the United States, Little League baseball champions, swimming, gymnastics, business. We have great Christians like Dr. Martin Luther King, or great Islamic leaders like the great Malcolm X. The oldest and the most significant Black history in the world is our Black Buddhist history. Let us be clear. Buddhist history is Black history. There is nothing wrong or racist about looking inside yourself, looking at your community, and making your community great. I can go to an Italian restaurant, I can go to a Chinese restaurant, a Mexican restaurant, or any other ethnic or cultural restaurant or establishment, and there's no problem. However, when a Black man says he's a proud Black Buddhist, he's deemed racist. Let us just conclude this lecture with the song I wrote called, "I Got to Get Up and Find My Own Way." I don't need no Japanese coming to America to teach me how to pray. We got this in ourselves. Let's listen to the song, and we're going to take you out, and our lecture was True to the Game, a Black Buddhist lecture. Thank you very much. Let's listen to our song. We Black people practice the Buddhist religion. Yes, we do. And we are not like our Asian brother. Tell them, because we practice Buddhism with our own Black culture, our own culture. And when it comes to teaching Black people, we are the best suited. We're the best suited because we are the proud Black Buddhists. Now let us show you Buddhism. Preach to our culture. Preach, brother. I've got to get up, find myself. Find yourself. There's a time in life when you're down on your luck and you got nobody else. When you have no direction, you don't know what to do, then put your faith in the Lord Sutra. I've got to get up, and find a way. When you're blinded by doubt, you know, oh, I pray the way of the Lord of Sutra. I practice attention of the Buddha. I've got to get up, gotta get up, and find a way, find a way. I practice the faith of the Lord of Sutra. That's the way I pray. Faith is a way, it's understood. Faith is on the way to Buddhahood. Got to get up, and find yourself, find yourself. There's a time in life when you're down on your luck and you got nothing else. I don't care what the Japanese leaders say. The only way to Buddhahood is only through faith. I've got to get up, and find my own way. Find your own way. I don't need you to come to America. You ain't gotta come to America. Teach me how to pray. Teach me how to pray. In case it is news to you, it is only the Lotus Sutra. That's the teachings of the Buddha. I've got to get up, and find yourself. Find yourself. There's a time in life when you're down out there. You got nothing else. Faith is the way, it's understood. Faith is on the way to Buddhahood. I've got to get up, and find my best self. There's a time in life when you're down on your luck, you got nothing else. When you have no direction and you don't know what to do, then you put your faith in the Lord of Sutra. I've got to get up, and find yourself. When you find them down, get on your knees and get ready. I pray the way of the Lord of Sutra. I practice the teaching of the Buddha. I've got to get up, and find my own way. Find your own way. Put my faith in the Lord of Sutra, and that's the way I pray. Faith is the way, it's understood. Faith is on the way to Buddha. I've got to get up, and find the best self. Find your best self. There's a time in life when you're down on your luck. You got nothing else. You got nothing else. I don't care what the Japanese say. The only way to Buddhahood is only through faith. I've got to get up, and find my own way. Find your own way. I don't need you to come to America and teach me how to pray. In the case it's new for you, the only way to teach is the Lord of Sutra. I've got to get up, and find myself. Got my whole faith. There's a time in life you got to pray. I know how to pray, because we got faith. We got faith. Fighting in the world for freedom, justice, and equality, we're the men suited. We are called the Proud Black Buddhists. We're gonna put you guys on alert. In the 15th chapter of the Sutra, we're the Buddhist stoppers of the earth. Them jive suckers who trying to knock us. We are the Black Buddhist stoppers. Dr. King, Malcolm X, and Nelson Mandela were Black Buddhist stoppers. There's one necklace stopper that come from India. His name was Zachary Hill in Mecca. The old name for India is Ethiopia.